In the vast expanse of universal consciousness, your spiritual energy is one of your most precious possessions. Yet, in our increasingly connected world, this vital force is constantly being targeted, drained, and harvested without your knowledge or consent. This energy harvesting is not a concept from science fiction. It's a spiritual reality that many advanced souls throughout history have warned about, including the renowned intuitive Cayce, who documented numerous cases of energy manipulation in his readings. Your spiritual energy, sometimes called your life force, chi, prana, or soul essence, is the fundamental power that animates your physical form and connects you to higher dimensions. It's the radiant light that emanates from your being, influencing your health, emotions, thoughts, and spiritual evolution. This energy is meant to flow freely, nurturing your growth and supporting your divine purpose. But when this sacred energy is harvested, you may find yourself depleted, confused, and disconnected from your true path. Energy harvesting occurs on multiple levels of reality. At its most basic, it's the unconscious or deliberate siphoning of your vital force by external influences. This harvesting can be subtle and gradual, occurring over years or even lifetimes, or it can be sudden and jarring, leaving you feeling as though something essential has been stolen from your very being. The truth is that many of us move through life unaware that our energy fields are constantly being tapped, drained, and sometimes even redirected toward purposes that don't serve our highest good. In the physical world, energy harvesting might manifest through relationships that consistently leave you feeling exhausted rather than uplifted. It could be the colleague who always seems to brighten after conversations that leave you drained, or the friend whose problems somehow become your emotional burden. These energy vampires, as they're sometimes called, may not even be conscious of their harvesting behavior. They've simply developed patterns of drawing sustenance from others rather than generating their own spiritual power. On a more subtle level, energy harvesting occurs through the bombardment of negative information, fear-based media, and technologies designed to capture not just your attention, but the very essence of your spiritual focus. When your attention is fragmented and scattered across countless digital distractions, your energy follows. This diffusion of spiritual power makes it easier for your energy to be collected and redirected. The most concerning form of energy harvesting, however, occurs on the non-physical planes. Throughout human history, esoteric traditions have acknowledged the existence of entities, thought forms, and discarnate beings that sustain themselves by feeding on human emotional and spiritual energy. These forces are drawn to strong emotional states, particularly fear, anger, jealousy, and even excessive desire, and they can attach themselves to your energy field, creating persistent drains on your spiritual resources. Your thoughts themselves can become vehicles for energy harvesting. When you fixate on worries, ruminate on past traumas, or project anxieties into the future, you're essentially broadcasting your energy into realms where it can be easily intercepted and utilized by forces that don't have your spiritual evolution as their priority. These thought patterns create energetic pathways through which your vital force can be continuously drained, often without your awareness. The signs of energy harvesting are numerous and varied, but they often include persistent fatigue that rest doesn't seem to resolve, sudden mood changes that feel foreign to your true nature, unexplainable health issues, recurring nightmares or disturbed sleep patterns, and a general sense of being disconnected from your purpose and passion. You might also notice that your intuition seems clouded, your spiritual practices feel mechanical rather than transcendent, or that certain environments or interactions consistently leave you feeling diminished. Understanding the reality of energy harvesting is not meant to induce fear, quite the opposite. Awareness is the first step toward reclaiming your sovereign spiritual power. By recognizing the various ways your energy can be tapped and harvested, you begin the essential process of energetic boundary setting and spiritual protection. In the chapters that follow, we will explore who or what might be harvesting your energy, how to recognize when it's happening, and most importantly, how to protect yourself permanently from these intrusions. Remember, your spiritual energy is your divine birthright. It's the currency of your soul's journey and the fuel for your highest evolution. Learning to conserve, protect, and consciously direct this precious resource is perhaps one of the most important spiritual skills you can develop in these challenging times. The path to energy sovereignty begins with awareness, continues through protection, and culminates in the conscious creation of a life that nurtures rather than depletes your sacred spiritual essence. To effectively protect your spiritual energy, you must first identify the sources of energy harvesting. These forces operate across multiple dimensions of reality, from the visible physical world to the subtle realms beyond ordinary perception. Understanding these energy harvesters allows you to recognize their influence and take appropriate protective measures. In the physical realm, certain individuals function as what many spiritual traditions call energy vampires. These are people who, often unconsciously, have developed patterns of drawing vital force from others rather than generating sufficient energy of their own. They typically fall into several categories: the constant complainer, who transforms every interaction into a litany of problems without seeking solutions; the drama creator, who manufactures crises to attract attention and energy; the controller, who manipulates others through guilt, shame, or obligation; and the chronic critic, who elevates themselves by diminishing others. These individuals often suffer from their own energy deficiencies and have developed compensatory mechanisms that allow them to tap into your reserves. Certain institutions and systems have been structured, whether by design or evolution, to harvest human energy on a collective scale. Corporate environments that demand constant productivity without adequate replenishment, educational systems that prioritize conformity over creativity, media platforms engineered to capture and monetize attention, and religious organizations that induce fear or guilt rather than genuine spiritual connection. All of these can function as large-scale energy harvesting operations. These systems often redirect your vital force toward purposes that don't serve your highest spiritual development. Modern technology, particularly digital devices and platforms, represents a new frontier in energy harvesting. The attention economy is, at its core, an energy economy. Each notification, alert, and algorithm-driven recommendation is designed to capture not just your attention, but the spiritual energy that flows with it. These technologies aren't inherently negative, but their current implementation often creates continuous energy drains that fragment your consciousness and scatter your vital force across countless trivial concerns, making it easily harvested and redirected. Moving beyond the physical dimension, various thought forms can attach to your energy field and create persistent drains. Thought forms are energetic constructs created through repeated thought patterns, emotions, and beliefs, both individually and collectively. Negative thought forms around unworthiness, fear of lack, separation consciousness, and victimhood can become parasitic, continuously siphoning energy to maintain their existence. Cultural thought forms around success, beauty, status, and belonging can similarly harvest energy when they become objects of obsession or sources of identity. More concerning are the non-physical entities that various spiritual traditions have identified as energy harvesters. These may be described as astral parasites, discarnate beings, or interdimensional forces that have evolved to feed on human emotional and spiritual energy. They're particularly attracted to lower vibrational states such as fear, anger, addiction, depression, and obsession. These entities don't necessarily harbor malice. They're simply following their nature, much as a mosquito seeks blood without personal animosity toward its host. Nevertheless, their presence can create significant energy drains and spiritual disturbances. Cosmic forces also play a role in the harvesting of human energy. Certain astrological alignments, planetary configurations, and galactic cycles can create temporary windows where your energy becomes more vulnerable to harvesting. Similarly, geographical locations marked by traumatic historical events, environmental destruction, or certain geological formations can facilitate energy harvesting through what sensitive individuals often perceive as heavy or dark atmospheres. Perhaps most subtle, yet significant, are the self-harvesting patterns we establish within our own consciousness. Negative self-talk, unresolved trauma, suppressed emotions, self-judgment, and limiting beliefs all create internal energy leaks that prevent the full expression of your spiritual power. These patterns often originate from external conditioning, but become self-perpetuating cycles, that continuously drain your vital force from within. It's important to understand that many energy harvesters aren't consciously malevolent. People who drain others' energy are typically unaware of their behavior and are often suffering from their own energy deficiencies. Similarly, most technological systems weren't created with the explicit purpose of spiritual harvesting, though their effects accomplish this nonetheless. Even non-physical entities are generally following their nature, rather than executing a malicious plan. Recognizing these various sources of energy harvesting isn't about adopting a paranoid worldview or seeing enemies everywhere. Rather, it's about developing discernment, the spiritual capacity to perceive reality clearly without distortion from fear, denial, or wishful thinking. With this discernment, you can identify when your energy is being harvested and take appropriate measures to protect yourself. Your spiritual energy communicates through various channels: physical sensations, emotional states, mental patterns, and intuitive insights. When this vital force is being harvested, your being sends clear signals that something is amiss. Learning to recognize these signs is crucial for early intervention and protection. The following indicators, when observed with mindful awareness, can alert you to energy harvesting in progress. Physical symptoms often manifest first, as the body serves as the densest expression of your spiritual energy. Unexplainable fatigue that persists despite adequate rest is perhaps the most common sign of energy harvesting. This isn't ordinary tiredness. It's a profound exhaustion that seems to reach beyond physical exertion into your very essence. You might experience sudden temperature changes, particularly unexpected cold sensations or chills that move through specific parts of your body. Pressure or heaviness in the chest, solar plexus, or throat areas, all major energy centers, can indicate external forces drawing from these chakras. Persistent headaches, especially around the third eye or crown regions, often signal interference with your higher awareness centers. Sleep disturbances provide another window into energy harvesting. Difficulty falling asleep despite physical tiredness, waking repeatedly between 2 to 4 a.m. when the veil between dimensions is thinnest, vivid nightmares that leave you feeling drained rather than rested, or sleep paralysis episodes may all indicate that your energy is being accessed during vulnerable states of consciousness. Some sensitive individuals report feeling a presence in the room or pressure on the chest during these nocturnal episodes. Your emotional landscape offers clear indicators of energy harvesting. Sudden mood shifts that feel disconnected from your circumstances, particularly abrupt transitions into fear, anger, or despair, often signal external influences affecting your emotional body. Emotional numbness or a sense of being disconnected from your feelings can indicate defensive shutdowns in response to energy depletion. Feeling emotionally drained after specific interactions, whether in-person or virtual, points to interpersonal energy harvesting, an unexplainable sense of heaviness, as though carrying an emotional burden that isn't yours, suggests you may be absorbing others' energetic baggage. Mental symptoms manifest as disruptions to your normal thought patterns. Brain fog or difficulty concentrating on simple tasks may indicate your mental energy is being diverted elsewhere. Intrusive thoughts that feel foreign or inconsistent with your values, particularly persistent negative thoughts about yourself or others, can be thought forms attaching to your field. Obsessive thinking patterns that create mental loops, preventing clear perception or decision-making, often serve as energy harvesting mechanisms. Memory lapses or time disorientation, where hours seem to disappear without clear recollection, may suggest periods of significant energy drainage. Your intuition and spiritual connection also provide warning signs. A diminished sense of purpose or spiritual disconnection, feeling cut off from your higher guidance or divine source, often accompanies energy harvesting. Spiritual practices that previously felt nourishing may suddenly feel empty or mechanical. Meditation might become difficult, with an inability to quiet the mind or achieve previously accessible states of consciousness. Your intuitive perceptions might become clouded, with diminished clarity about decisions or life direction. Relational patterns frequently reveal energy harvesting dynamics. You might notice certain relationships consistently leave you feeling depleted rather than energized. There may be people you instinctively avoid or feel anxious about encountering because of the energetic drain they represent. Boundary issues often emerge, with difficulty saying no or standing firm in your authentic truth. Codependent dynamics, where you feel responsible for others' emotions or well-being at the expense of your own, frequently mask systematic energy harvesting. Environmental influences can trigger your awareness of energy depletion. Certain locations might leave you feeling consistently drained, while others restore your vitality. You might experience sudden energy drops when entering specific buildings, neighborhoods, or natural areas. Electronic devices might malfunction in your presence during periods of significant energy disruption, as your electromagnetic field fluctuates. Sensitivity to weather changes, geomagnetic activity, or lunar cycles might intensify during periods of vulnerability to energy harvesting. Synchronistic events sometimes point to energy interference. Recurring number patterns, particularly those associated with warning or awareness, like 911, might increase during periods of energy harvesting. Unusual animal encounters, especially with creatures traditionally associated with psychic protection in various cultures, can serve as warnings. Dreams with repetitive themes of intrusion, pursuit, or boundary violations often reflect energetic realities manifesting in dream symbolism. Perhaps most telling is the intuitive knowing that something is wrong. This might manifest as a persistent feeling of being watched or monitored, sensing presences around you, particularly in peripheral vision, or experiencing a general feeling of uneasiness without apparent cause. You might feel a subtle pressure or manipulation attempting to influence your decisions away from your highest good. These intuitive signals, while difficult to quantify, often provide the earliest warning system of energy harvesting. It's important to understand that experiencing these signs doesn't indicate weakness or spiritual failure. In fact, your awareness of these symptoms demonstrates your growing energetic sensitivity and discernment. Many of the most spiritually developed individuals throughout history, including mystics, healers, and teachers, have documented their encounters with energy harvesting forces and the methods they developed to protect themselves. As your awareness increases, you'll develop greater precision in identifying exactly when, where, and how your energy is being accessed without permission. This awareness itself begins the process of reclaiming your spiritual sovereignty. In the next chapter, we'll explore specific techniques for permanently protecting your energy from these harvesting influences, transforming awareness into empowered action. Protecting your spiritual energy isn't merely about temporary defense. It's about establishing permanent sovereignty over your energetic field. The techniques outlined below create lasting protection by addressing the root causes of energy vulnerability rather than simply treating symptoms. When practiced consistently, these methods transform your energetic signature, making it increasingly difficult for any force to harvest your spiritual power without consent. The foundation of permanent energy protection begins with conscious breathing. Your breath serves as the bridge between physical and spiritual dimensions, carrying vital force throughout your being. Practice the shield breath technique. Inhale deeply through your nose for a count of 4, visualizing pure white or golden light filling your lungs and energy field. Hold this breath for 7 counts, mentally affirming, "My energy is sovereign and protected." Exhale slowly through your mouth for 8 counts, visualizing a luminous shield forming around your entire being. This practice, performed upon waking and before sleep, creates a baseline protective field that strengthens with consistent application. Grounding is essential for energy protection, as ungrounded energy is easily harvested. Establish a daily grounding ritual by standing barefoot on natural earth, soil, grass, or sand for at least 5 minutes. Visualize roots extending from the soles of your feet deep into the earth's core, anchoring your energy and drawing up stabilizing earth energy. For those in urban environments without easy access to nature, visualization alone can be effective, or use grounding objects like hematite, black tourmaline, or smoky quartz held in your hands while performing the visualization. This practice prevents your energy from becoming diffuse and vulnerable to harvesting. Energy clearing must be performed regularly to remove harvesting attachments before they become entrenched. Sound is particularly effective for this purpose. Use a singing bowl, bell, drum, or even your own voice to create vibrations that disrupt negative energy patterns. Move the sound source around your body from head to toe, paying special attention to areas that feel heavy or congested. Alternatively, Salt baths with 1 cup of sea salt or Himalayan salt added to warm water create a powerful cleansing effect. Soak for 20-30 minutes while visualizing all foreign energies dissolving into the water. Then drain the water, mentally affirming that all harvesting connections are being severed. Boundary setting on the energetic level requires clear visualization. Practice the violet flame technique. Close your eyes and visualize a small flame of violet fire at your heart center. With each breath, expand this flame until it surrounds your entire body, extending about 3 feet in all directions. This violet fire transmutes negative energies without reflecting them back to their source. Affirm, this violet flame defines my sovereign energetic boundary. All connections not serving my highest good are now dissolved. This practice, done weekly or whenever you feel energetically compromised, establishes clear parameters that prevent unconscious harvesting. Shielding techniques create specialized energetic armor against specific types of harvesting. For protection against emotional harvesting, visualize a mirror shield surrounding you, reflecting all emotional projections back to their source with love and neutrality. For mental intrusions, imagine a dome of electric blue light that filters out thought forms not resonant with your highest truth. For protection during sleep, when you're most vulnerable, visualize a pyramid of golden light encasing your bed, with protective symbols on each face, according to your spiritual tradition. These targeted shields address specific vulnerabilities in your energetic anatomy. Psychic protection cords provide additional security for your major energy centers. Visualize golden cords of light extending from each chakra to appropriate protective sources, from your root chakra to the Earth's core, from your crown chakra to the cosmic source or divine presence you recognize, from your heart chakra to the heart of the universe or divine love. These cords ensure continuous energy replenishment from pure sources, preventing depletion that makes you vulnerable to harvesting. Sacred geometry offers sophisticated energetic architecture for protection. Visualize a Merkaba, 2 intersecting tetrahedrons, surrounding your body, spinning clockwise. This geometric form harmonizes your energy field and creates a high-frequency barrier that most harvesting entities cannot penetrate. Alternatively, visualize the flower of life pattern encasing your aura, establishing perfect energetic coherence that naturally repels disharmonious influences seeking to harvest your energy. Frequency elevation is perhaps the most permanent protection, as harvesting entities typically cannot access higher vibrational states. Daily practices that raise your baseline frequency include gratitude journaling, acts of compassion without expectation of return, forgiveness work, creative expression, and communion with nature. These practices aren't merely psychological, they fundamentally alter your energetic signature, making it increasingly difficult for lower frequency harvesting forces to establish connections with your field. Conscious technology usage prevents digital energy harvesting. Establish firm boundaries around screen time, using devices with full attention rather than as background stimulation. Before using technology, visualize a blue light filter between yourself and the screen that allows information to pass while blocking energetic harvesting. Regularly, clear your devices by placing them on a bed of salt overnight or using sound clearing techniques directed at the technology. These practices maintain technological convenience while minimizing energetic costs. Energy transmutation transforms harvesting attempts into spiritual fuel. When you sense an energy drain beginning rather than resisting, which often creates engagement that increases harvesting, visualize the incoming connection as a dark cord. See yourself grasping this cord and running golden light through it, transforming its nature before it reaches your field. This advanced technique not only protects you, but can actually heal the harvesting source by sending transformed energy back along the connection. Remember that permanent protection isn't achieved through a single technique, but through the integrated application of multiple approaches that address different dimensions of your being. Physical practices secure your material anchor, emotional techniques stabilize your feeling body, mental methods clear your thought patterns, and spiritual practices elevate your consciousness beyond the reach of harvesting influences. This multidimensional approach creates not just a shield, but a transformed energetic ecosystem that naturally resists unauthorized access to your spiritual power. The most powerful and permanent protection against energy harvesting comes not from external tools or defensive techniques, but from the cultivation of spiritual self-mastery. While the protective methods shared in previous chapters provide essential safeguards, true energetic sovereignty emerges from deep inner development. This final chapter explores how the journey towards self-realization naturally establishes impenetrable protection through the transformation of your very being. At the core of spiritual self-mastery lies radical self-awareness. Most energy harvesting succeeds because it operates below the threshold of consciousness, exploiting blind spots in your awareness. Through dedicated mindfulness practices, you can illuminate these shadows, bringing conscious attention to every dimension of your experience. Begin with daily periods of simple observation, watching your thoughts, emotions, sensations, and energetic shifts without judgment or identification. This witnessing consciousness creates a gap between your essential self and the various energies moving through your field, allowing you to discern what is truly yours and what represents external influence or harvesting. Energy literacy becomes possible through this heightened self-awareness. Just as you learn to read written language, you can develop the ability to read the subtle language of energy. Notice how different thoughts, interactions, environments, and activities affect your energetic state. Create an energy journal documenting these observations, looking for patterns that reveal your unique vulnerabilities to harvesting. This practice develops your energy discernment, the capacity to immediately recognize frequencies that are dissonant with your authentic signature, allowing for instantaneous protection responses. The cultivation of inner stillness establishes a reference point of pure being that remains untouched by harvesting attempts. Through regular meditation, gradually extend your capacity to rest in the silent awareness that lies beneath all mental activity. This silence isn't empty, it's filled with the pristine energy of your true nature, which naturally repels invasive forces. From this stillness, you can observe energy harvesters without engagement, watching them dissipate when denied the reaction they seek. This inner sanctuary becomes your ultimate refuge, a dimension of your being that remains forever sovereign, regardless of external circumstances. Emotional mastery forms another pillar of permanent protection. Harvesting entities feed primarily on intense emotional states, particularly those in the fear spectrum: anxiety, anger, jealousy, resentment, and shame. By developing emotional intelligence, you learn to experience feelings without being overwhelmed by them. Practice the art of emotional transmutation, not suppressing emotions, but consciously processing them through the heart center, transforming their raw energy into higher expressions. This alchemical skill prevents the emotional flooding that creates vulnerability to harvesting and establishes you as the master of your emotional energy rather than its servant. The practice of energetic discernment in relationships creates clear boundaries that prevent interpersonal harvesting. Learn to distinguish between connections that enhance your energy and those that deplete it. This isn't about judging others as good or bad, but about recognizing energetic compatibility and making conscious choices about engagement. Sometimes temporary distance is necessary while you strengthen your field. In other cases, you may need to permanently release relationships that consistently drain your vital force. Trust your subtle senses in these discernments. Your body and energy field often recognize harmful connections before your mind can rationalize them. Spiritual alignment with your authentic purpose creates a protective force field of intentional living. When you're actively engaged with your soul's mission, your energy naturally organizes around this central intention, becoming more coherent and less susceptible to scattered harvesting. Take time for deep reflection on the unique gifts you bring to the world and how you're called to express them. As you align your daily activities with this authentic purpose, you'll notice a natural increase in energy availability and a significant decrease in vulnerability to harvesting influences that would divert you from your path. The cultivation of unconditional love represents the ultimate protection, as this highest frequency state naturally repels lower vibrations that seek to harvest. This isn't romantic or sentimental love, but the profound recognition of the essential unity of all life and the compassionate awareness that flows from this understanding. Begin by directing loving kindness toward yourself, healing the self-judgment that often creates energetic leaks. Gradually extend this love outward to others, even those who may have participated in harvesting your energy. This practice doesn't create vulnerability, quite the opposite. Unconditional love establishes an energetic signature so powerful and coherent that harvesting forces cannot interface with it. Energy stewardship, the conscious management of your vital force as a precious resource, becomes a natural expression of self-mastery. Regularly assess how you're investing your energy, making intentional choices rather than responding to habitual demands. Learn to distinguish between activities that represent true giving, which often increases energy through meaningful exchange, and those that deplete without purpose. Establish regular practices for energy replenishment, particularly communion with natural elements, creative expression, and connection with divine source through whatever spiritual tradition resonates with your authentic path. The ultimate state of protection comes through the awakening to your true nature beyond all conceptual identities. As you recognize yourself as pure awareness, the witness consciousness that observes all phenomena without becoming entangled, you establish residence in a dimension of being that remains forever untouched by harvesting attempts. From this awakened perspective, you recognize that while your human energy system may interact with various forces, your essential nature remains sovereign, luminous, and free. This realization doesn't bypass the necessary work of protecting your human energy field, but it provides the ultimate context for that work, the understanding that your deepest self remains eternally inviolable. The integration of these dimensions of self-mastery, awareness, stillness, emotional intelligence, discernment, purpose, love, stewardship, and awakening, creates not just protection, but transformation. You shift from a defensive posture of constantly guarding against harvesting to the empowered stance of radiating such coherent energy that harvesting becomes increasingly impossible. This is the promise of spiritual development, not just safety from negative influences, but the positive expression of your full, luminous potential, blessing rather than depleting the world through your presence. Remember that this journey unfolds gradually, through patient practice rather than perfect achievement. Each step toward greater self-mastery naturally increases your energy protection. Trust this process, celebrating each increment of growth while maintaining compassion for the aspects of yourself still vulnerable to harvesting. Through this balanced approach of vigilance and self-acceptance, you establish not just temporary shields, but permanent sovereignty over your precious spiritual energy, your divine birthright, and the foundation of your highest evolution. If this message resonated with you, your spiritual journey has just begun. The knowledge of energy protection is meant to be shared, not hoarded. Subscribe now to receive more ancient wisdom and modern techniques to safeguard your spiritual essence. Leave a comment below sharing which protection method you'll implement first. Your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. Remember, in strengthening your own energy field, you help elevate the collective consciousness. Subscribe, comment, and join our community of awakened souls committed to energy sovereignty. Your spiritual protection journey starts now.